It's time for Who Watch, Time and Relative Blackness in Space.
Black girls out of the box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Connie, and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
Today we are discussing episode 4 of Doctor Who season 10, Knock Knock. In this episode, the Doctor is a granddad again. Bill moves in into a new / old house, and Nardole is still here, I guess.
Still there.
Guys, did you have fun? Let's go back to an old question that's new again.
I thought it was good. I liked it.
Because the problem is that before I even could watch it, in the We Black and Nerd Slack, or the Black Girls Crate Slack, which our listeners should join if you haven't joined, Connie and Amani were like, "Oh, this is scary." And I hadn't watched it.
It was just a forewarning because it was creepier than the last 3 episodes.
Don't warn Robin beforehand. Let her watch it and come to her own conclusion. Because otherwise, just let her watch it. Don't tell her.
Zelda was sleeping and she was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Listen, it's going down, Z. Are you ready to go, Z? Stay away from the wall, because her bed is against the wall." It's not wood, though. I hope it's not wood. I don't know what this is.
For new listeners, Zelda
it's not wood.
Is Robin's dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I think that, Doctor Who is, it has its scarier episodes, and it, uses elements of horror, and that was, the main thing for this, episode. But, I mean, I watch a lot of stressful-ass television shows, and Doctor Who is not, on the scale of things. It's not that stressful. It's fun, and I know at the end they're gonna figure it out, and if they don't, then at the end of the next episode they'll figure it out, and it's fine. You know what I mean? So I, am used to that expectation, and so, yeah, it's, it's fine. So, yeah, so I think it was fun and everything, but not in the way that, I don't know. I see why Robin's not as excited about it, but I also think that, it's Doctor Who. So it always has that element of humor, and it always has, the silly thing, and so that's, I feel adds levity to it. And it's not, super stressful to me.
Yeah, it's the good kind of scary, where it's, a little bit scary, but then, they're going to figure it out in the end. And obviously we'll talk about the Everybody Lives moment later, but, it was the kind of creepy where I feel like it was creepier this episode because they made such an effort to make it relatable to, young people. And so it's oh, snap, you could get caught up in a scary house. And I've thankfully lived in the same place for the last, 13 years. But I'm going to be listening for creaks if I ever try to move. So...
That was my other thing, was, Bill said, "What's the catch?" And then she just went along with the other 5 stupid youths. Dude.
The youths.
No. You knew this wasn't a good idea from jump. He, was "Oh."
She needed one more black person in the house.
Was
she needed one more black person in the house so she could give them side-eye, you seeing this? This is weird, right? But she didn't have that other black person. But I did appreciate how diverse the team was.
South Asian girl who was her friend, who was the one that asked her to move in, and I refuse to believe that all people of color should have this certain level of skepticism. But it was the youth and the well, it's cheap though, but we got room and it's cheap though. And it's there's a reason why it's cheap.
But you've done something sketchy. You've done something sketchy because it was cheap. It's so
sketchy.
I got on the Chinatown bus to Boston. It was sketchy, but I did it because it was only $15. So you've done something sketchy because it's cheap.
And that was the thing, like you were saying, like it's totally relatable, and I think that like this is one of those Moffat episodes where he does a really good job of taking things that are like, yeah, I would totally do that, or like, yeah, I pass by stone statues all the time, cool, whatever, I don't give it any thought, like things that are really mundane or like things that are in your everyday life, and then making it terrifying. And I think that like they tried to do that last season with Sleep No More, and it didn't work at all. It was really dumb and boring. But like with this episode, I feel like it kind of brought it back without also falling into that weird like don't do this thing like kind of trope. It was more like there's really nothing you can and can't do. You just gonna walk and you're gonna get ate up by the wood, and that's what it is. So run, basically run. And I I don't know. I appreciated it for like as like one of those like kind of staple Doctor Who episodes that we've been getting, at least through Moffat's run.
Right. Even though Moffat didn't write this one, I think I read briefly that... Like,
well, I just mean him as, like, showrunner, not necessarily
but
as the
I just
writer.
wanted to clarify that I think a new person wrote it, which is, like, a cool thought, where it's like, oh, you know, Moffat's style is so pervasive throughout, like, Doctor Who canon and history. So it's cool to see that, like, a new writer can both balance... Moffat's style with, like, actually being hip and cool. Because Moffat doesn't exactly hit that mark.
Yeah, so the guy who wrote this was Mike Bartlett, and he did a British medical drama, like a British Grey's Anatomy called Dr. Foster, which I haven't watched, but... So he's more into, like, drama. But I do think that you're right, like, his it was, like, very much so in the style of Moffat, and it kind of had like that Doctor Who voice. But I don't know. I think yes, Bayana, the overarching theme of like Moffat's run as showrunner is taking these mundane things and making them really terrible. I'm just not down. I just want fun and romps, and I don't want to be worried. I have a hardwood floor. What am I supposed to do now? Like,
you sure it's real
how
hardwood?
am I supposed to
because
just...
like I'm pretty sure my shit is fake. So you just gotta check for that.
I don't know, man.
Well.
Knock on wood.
I don't know, but I live in an old ass building. Like
so do I,
we used to have an old building manager, but I think he went to an old folks home. Peace out, Art. We miss you, buddy. But like there's old people in this building. Shout out to he was like 90 though. Like he needed.
Are you sure he was 90? Working. He might have been preserved by some insects.
I just want the fun. I mean, I get it. Whatever. People...
Robin, you're watching the wrong show. If that's
like
what
scary
you want.
stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think Doctor Who's one of those shows where it's like they take things and it's like it's terrifying, and like obviously you're going around off into the unknown and there's monsters and aliens and like hella other shit happening. I think it does a good job of making it also silly. And there's gonna be situations where, like, things like this are scary, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? So I just feel like we should have a public service announcement really quickly.
Absolutely.
Read all the contracts. Read all of them.
Absolutely.
You gotta upgrade for Instagram. Read that shit. Like, Twitter, all of a sudden they updating your terms and agreements. Read it.
Yeah.
You putting in a new credit card information to buy some new shoes? Read the terms and agreements for that.
But also, wait, I might have missed it, but what did the contract say that was legit so sketch?
Well, the thing is like, we don't know what it said because nobody read it. But then when they go and they find bruh in the wall, and then the landlord walks in and he's like, it's time to pay your dues. Basically, he was like, rent's up and rent is you. Like, you're going to get eaten and that's the payment. Right. Like, that's literally, I'm sure in the contract, he probably, like, had it all lined out, and they didn't read it, because they were like, it's a big-ass house, and it's cheap. Yeah. So, we ain't got nowhere else to go. They're going to have us in the closet under the stairs, so let's do this instead. And I just think, read everything, the fine print.
I think
all of it.
Also interesting that he was able to pull this con for, like, 60 decades. In terms of, like, like, the 3 times. He was able to pull this trick so many times in a row because every 20 years, the market for houses probably goes up. And it's like, well, here's a cheap house. He didn't really have to work that hard each time because back in 1977, same stuff. people cannot afford to live anywhere.
Yeah.
So yes,
just
read
preying
all
on
of
the
your
young and the
contracts.
poor.
Get a magnifying glass and just really decipher the legalese.
The way he was like, you signed the contract the first time, and I was like, wait a minute. So in the contract, it was like, and he's like, now you gotta pay. And I was like, well, wait a goddamn minute.
That was their rent.
There's a line in there? Y'all didn't read the house may eat you as a part of your first month's rent?
No, they should have.
Like, that seems... It should have been kind of, like, where is... Like, when I go and sign leases, like, I don't read all that gobbledygook, but I'll be, like, looking for... Okay, how much is rent, and what are the things
Yeah, there are
when
keywords
I'm done with
that you know
this
you should
year
be looking
lease
for.
and rent goes out. Right.
Keywords. Eat is not a good keyword. Die. Not a good
No.
keyword. No. So you should look for those every time you read a contract, y'all.
Yeah.
Look out for the house may eat you as part of your payment.
And poor homeboy who was first in the house to find his room, he was the down payment. He was like, well,
exactly.
Immediately hungry. Nom, 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 nom.
The one thing, though, about that really messed me up was that would be me. Like, I would be the person who's like, oh, Robin does that. She just goes in her room and we won't see her for a couple days. Don't worry about it. And I'll be dead. Just stuck in the wall, like, ain't nobody coming to help me.
Yikes.
And they just walking past the room like, he's in the zone. Just leave him alone.
Yep, pretty much.
So, that would be me.
And then also, can we talk about how disrespectful it is that, like, they walk into this place and it's all wood, and so, like, the doctor can't use a screwdriver?
Couldn't use it not at
I was
once.
like, damn.
He used it as a flashlight.
Right, like, he was trying, like, when he, like, snuck back into the house or whatever, and he's, like, in the closet, or that was really an elevator, and he's, like, messing with it, and then he walks out and he's like, it's a lot of wood, and I'm like, damn. And I'm glad they didn't, like, I'm glad it was just, like, kind of alluded to, and it wasn't a whole, like, another, like, it doesn't do wood, but it, like, as people who have watched the show, like, know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And
Just-
because
Right.
Bill could have
like,
asked.
oh, so we just don't have
It would have been a good time for him
No
to mention it
screwdriver.
because he has a new companion who doesn't know that it doesn't do wood.
Oh,
but
and Bill
no one
would have had
asked.
so many good
Wood.
questions about that. Yeah.
I do love again, I might be jumping ahead towards Bill Phillips, but, like, even the doctor at this point is like, questions. Like, here they come.
Right, he's ready.
Here they come.
He's ready now. I liked.
But, yeah, that was really great, I think, because I do like those, like, little references that are not super overt to other things.
Like the Harriet Jones
he
reference.
did another one where the Harriet Jones, like, and it was just like, who's the prime minister? And then he said a bunch of names and he said Harriet Jones. And if you are a Whovian that's been in this, you're like, ah! But then they just, like, it's just like, yeah, it's part of the world, move on. And I like that because it just gives more depth to the fact that, like, yeah, it's a new companion, it's a new season, and we got this Nardole thing happening and whatever, and the doctor's gonna leave soon. But, like, the world is still the world, and there are still these, like, things that have happened that are in time that are, you know, you don't just get a whole clean slate.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that because Harriet Jones was very much a part of RTD's Who era, and a lot of, as we've discussed and are fearful of, whenever they change showrunners, as is precedent from the one time they've done it, there is there's an expectation that certain things are forever and certain things are very much like for one showrunner. So Harriet Jones is very much an RTD staple in a way that she never was after that. So it's cool that there are little things that they're referencing from that old era. That's cool because it'll show that after Moffat's gone, like, little things, and hopefully one big companion thing can bridge the gap.
Is that the thing? Oh, no, Bill. We're talking about Bill.
I mean,
But,
I'd love
yeah.
for River to come
Yeah.
back, but I think that I feel like
No.
River's last
I understand.
stand.
I want Bill to.
Yeah.
I want Bill to stay too. I just got excited.
I mean, River and Bill, because
Sorry.
blackness is great. But yeah, it's just like, oh look, there are things that will always be a part of Who land, and sometimes they may just be small references.
Right.
So can we just talk about Homeboy, the landlord, the serial killer, since he was 8 or however young he was? Just
yeah.
Can we just talk about the mommy issues that go along with that?
Okay, so the thing with him that for me was like, he was very young when his mother like started to get sick, but then like, was he like 12 years old going out to be like, come live in my house? Like, when did things start? I need to know, like, exactly when he started preying on strangers in the streets and bringing them back to his home to be eaten. I need to know. They didn't really go into all of that.
Okay, every 20 years the house gets restless again.
I guess. Or, like, she starts to deteriorate. They didn't really make that part clear.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't. It was just like, oh, every 20 years, 6 people. It's like, what's up with the number 6? What's up with it being every 20 years?
Right. I mean,
what's
y'all
up with
know
7?
It's Doctor Who. Y'all asking too many questions.
Right, you ask too many questions, it starts to fall apart.
You
but
get too deep in and you're like, oh shit, I'm confused.
None of this makes any sense. Mm-hmm. But I still want more about, like, I get, like, the whole, and that's actually kind of another callback to, I'm thinking about, like, the empty child is, like, and the Dr. Dances is, like, the scared kid and, like, the havoc that they can cause.
Yeah.
But bruh started at 12 and was, like, 60 and just murdering folk. Like, and real creepy about it. Like, it was, like, serial killer was in his bones. Like,
And he just never, like, talked to anybody. He was in the house by himself all of that time. I guess talking to his moms, but, like, no references to, like, the world changing out around them.
Yeah, there was no understanding, too, of when he confused her into thinking that he was the father.
Right.
And she was the daughter. You know what I mean? Like, when did that transition happen?
I guess he just, like, got old enough and went with it because he was like, okay, she's listening to me. Like, I feel like the fact that she had, she was kind of easy to turn, like, towards, like, the good side because she was kind of so oblivious to what was happening that she didn't realize that she was the bad guy. So I think that at some point she kind of, like, probably questioned him, like, what are we doing? And he's just like, no. And she's just, like, confused. And it's just like, are you father? Okay, fine. Then I believe you. And he was just like, whatever it takes for her to go along with it.
Maybe that's the 20-year thing is she starts to, when you're saying, like, she starts to deteriorate. That's the 20-year mark. And then he's got to get more food for the house.
It's amazing that 6 people last 20 years, though. That's a good metabolism.
Yeah. Especially because how quick he was eating them up. Like,
he
just not, like, I guess the digestion process.
But then also, like, people would notice, right? Like, all this, like, your homies are just, like, getting eaten, disappearing one by one in the house. Like, by homie number 3,
you out.
I'd be like, you know what?
You're like, I've got to.
It's time for me to, Mom.
The one girl, the other homegirl was like, I gotta go. I can't be caged in.
She was real.
She, like, hopped out that window like, I'm out.
That was real, though.
And I was like, I get you.
It just sucked because she was still on the grounds, and so she still got for a second. But everybody lives,
by
guys.
A tree.
She got hiding by that tree, but
everybody lives.
I understood the impulse.
Because I felt really...
I understood the impulse to be like, I gotta go.
I felt really guilty, or not guilty, but, like, bad for Bill because she's kind of seeing someone die every episode. And so I was like, dang.
Dude, I was getting really worried.
She has all these new friends, and now she's watching them all die in front of her. And so I was just like, oh, man. So I was really glad that everybody lived. Because she watched Homegirl die in front of her, and her face was broken. And I was like, she's never traveling with him again after this.
Well, that was, like, the really funny thing, or not funny, I don't know if it was funny, but, like, that was a really interesting thing about how she was reacting to even the doctor sticking around, because she was like, nope, it's just an old house, there ain't nothing to see here, ain't nobody dying.
Right.
Like, as if, like, him being there meant the weirdness was coming.
And it does.
As opposed to just the weirdness of the house in general.
And I mean, I was really glad, though, that everybody did live, because by the time, like, once her homie, who she was, like, off with, died, or, like, got took by the bugs, I was like, well, damn. Like, First of all, you know, like there's we always have these ensemble casts. It's like a staple in Doctor Who episodes, and like most of the time they die, or like 3 of them die, and then maybe 2 escape or whatever. But I was really like, damn, so every single one of them, and these are all Bill's homies, like not just people they just ran into and found. Like these are people who, at least one of them is like a close enough friend that she's like, yeah, I'll move in with you and your other friends that I don't know. And then these are like, and then if they're all dead in like the span of a night, that's really terrifying. So when they were like, oh, they're restoring them, I was like, thank the Lord, because that is traumatizing as fuck. I wouldn't want to be Bill in that situation. Like, can't move on from that. No.
You really can't.
Like, how do you move on from it?
He's killing all of the students at this school.
Like, dang.
Right.
Yeah. So I was very happy about that.
Do we want to go into Bill Phil's from here? Because
Sure. Do you want to go into Bill Phil's from here?
I have Bill Phil's.
Clearly.
Sounds like you do.
Oh, yes.
Sounds like you do.
But I wanted to make sure that everyone was on page with me. I didn't want to just bring us along.
I mean, I guess before we get into Bill Phil's, we should just quickly talk about the vault.
The Master's in there.
Because that's, the
Master's absolutely in there.
But the Master's totally in there. You called it episode 1 out the gate. Good job, Ayana. He brought Mexican food, though, so the Master likes some enchiladas.
Because I feel like the last few episodes...
Because who doesn't like a good taco?
I feel like the last few episodes...
What do you mean, why?
Why? Not the Mexican food. I feel like the last few episodes...
It was like some carne asada, of course.
There's Mexican food in London? Well, I guess never mind. He has a TARDIS.
It's not good.
Just kidding. He has a TARDIS. He can go anywhere.
It's your fault, Robin. I want carne asada fries.
Yeah, me too.
I hate you.
I just found out that next weekend is Mother's Day, so I'm going home, so that's going to be on the menu. Carne asada fries and Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2.
You just found out.
Anywho,
okay.
There is Mexican food, though, because we passed a Mexican restaurant, Bayana. It's not good.
I know, we didn't go because they spelled, what did they spell? They spelled something wrong. It was Oaxaca, and they spelled it, like, phonetically, and I was like, that's not how you spell that. I'm not gonna go in there.
Yeah, it was like WACA or something. Like, we were like,
isn't that supposed to be?
Wakawawa?
I was like, doesn't that sound what the sound
and then Bayana was like, is that Oaxaca? And I was like, but that's not how you spell Oaxaca. So I don't think. And then we were like, nope, that's Oaxaca.
We just kept walking after that.
Because
I was like, that's not how you spell that.
Go to Nando's.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Sus. Suspicio.
Yeah.
But he has a TARDIS, so I'm sure he went and got like authentic Mexican food and then came back. And I think that's
he went to San Diego and got that good stuff.
Or Mexico.
Or actual Mexico?
Nah.
But sure.
Actual Mexico.
Mexican food from Mexico is a completely different cuisine than like taco shop.
I know, but he said I got Mexican food. He didn't say I got taco shop. He didn't say I went to the taqueria in San Diego.
But it was in the plastic bag.
He said I went to get Mexican food.
Okay, first off, you don't say taqueria in Southern California.
That's fine. You say taqueria in Northern California. I don't really care. That's not the point of this conversation.
And y'all put rice in
at all.
Burritos and it's all messed up. But that's not the point. The point is, homeboy wanted to go, like, hang out with his homie in the vault. So it has to be... And there was the other, like, ongoing thing about the point of life and the point of living is to, like, be with people and have friends and, like, have experiences. And then the first thing he does when he's, like, done saving all of Bill's friends is to go...
hang out with his friend.
And try to spend time with his friend-ish.
Right. And I think there's, like, so many clues to it being the Master, like, in addition to, like, the vault is Gallifreyan. There's, like, Gallifreyan shit all over that door. And then, like, the fact that, like, he put a piano in there, so they're just playing music. Like, that's quirky and strange as fuck. And then didn't want to talk to the Doctor until he said, and some people died. Like, these are all, it's very clearly. We don't know which Master, but it's at least one of them.
When he said, and some people died, and the piano got all happy again, I was like, yeah, that's the Master. That's some of that Master.
It's one of them. Could be both. You know what I'm saying? That
it can't be both, right?
It could, because
it's not like just too much.
It's a lot of time issues, but like the thing is Gallifreyan, and so it could probably hold that time, that paradox or whatever in place and be fine. Or it's just one of them, and that's fine too.
Does Nardole know
There is a
Who's in
master
the
in there. I'm
vault?
pretty sure Nardole knows. Because he seemed really
Because
disapproving, like...
John Sims.
But also, I'm confused about the last few episodes. I thought they didn't know what was in the vaults and they were trying to open it, but it seems like they can just open it. So what was Nardole like staring at before the doctor showed up? Like he was sort of messing with the like key or like some toggles or whatever. And so I'm confused as to
I think
what
he was trying to
doing.
make sure. I think he's trying to make sure that they stay in the vault. It's like not that they were trying to figure out what's in there, but they were trying to ensure that what's in there stays in there, which is the master doesn't get out. And so when he started knocking last episode, Nardole was like, "Oh, is he trying to figure out a way, or she, whichever version of the master, are they trying to figure out a way to get out of the vault?" And we need to make sure that it's kind of like a prison, like they need to stay in there. And I think the vault is kind of a little bit like a TARDIS, where it's bigger on the inside and a bunch of stuff. Because when the door opened this time, there was a big light came out. But I think that's what's going on, is they're trying to make sure that like all of it's still secure from the outside.
Is that why the doctor can't leave? Like he's not supposed to go off
and the master can't leave.
Or he's not supposed to. It's because he's the only person who can really, like, imprison the master, for real.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, and because Nardole was like, look, you can go have fun and play with monsters and aliens without going off-world, or out of the time, like, it, like, be available just in case.
But he's always available. He has a TARDIS.
The ish goes down.
Yeah, but you know how the doctor gets. He runs out. He like,
and
he loses track of time because he doesn't really pay attention to time, and then the TARDIS just takes him wherever he needs to be. So she doesn't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she.
Right. You don't steer the TARDIS. You reason with her, and if she isn't trying to be where he's needed, then he ain't gonna be there. Right. Like that's just, And so I think Nardole's thing is stay in this place and time, and you can like go have adventures here, but don't leave me with this vault, or with the master in this vault, especially if he's knocking and like making waves.
Right.
Okay, so now can we go to Billville's?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, because I have two big ones. First.
Okay.
The dude that was hitting on Bill, and she just like so politely like clocked it and then shut him down. Like I really love that.
I love that.
It was like I know what you're doing here, but let me stop you, fam. Like we can be friends.
There's some important information you need to know.
And then the guy's reaction too was like, "Oh, well, I never had a shot."
Right. At first, she was just like, "You're not my type, bro," and he was like, he was all heartbroken. He was like, "Well, damn. That's embarrassing." And she was like, "I like girls." He was like, "Oh, cool. All right." Which is like real, like,
right.
Just men, like.
It's real man. It's real masculine, like hyper masculine. Like I can be, if you're not straight, then I was never in the game. But if I was like, if you like any of my gender,
right.
Then it's not on me.
Why not me?
Right.
Like,
it's not on me.
Right.
When you don't like any of my gender.
So that I thought was really great. And then I guess I have three things. And then her talking to her mom's picture and like showing her the room and then hanging it up on the wall. And I was like, is she ever going to be able to get her mom's picture down?
Oh, fuck.
Please let her get her mom's picture down.
I thought that too, but now that the house like disintegrated or whatever, like, is there stuff still there? They didn't really make that clear.
They didn't get it. They didn't save any of their stuff. But
which is
the
real.
doctor
Get the fuck out.
Got pictures once.
But
right.
Yeah, he can and he took the photos in the first place, so he can go back and get more.
Get more.
Yeah, you can just like make extra prints.
That's what I was
like,
thinking. Like,
girl, I developed a second photo. You fine.
Or you can just go back in time into her room, grab her stuff, and dip while shit's still going on.
I don't know. That's like crossing the timeline or whatever.
Yeah, but if they don't see each other, I think it's fine.
Emotion.
Like after the fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's not think too much about it.
But obviously, I have feelings about that because Bill's mom has a glorious fro, as does mine, and so it just kind of further solidifies the fact that Bill and I are twins. It just further solidified it. I was just
Yeah,
like, oh, great, it's 10 minutes into the episode and I'm already weeping. Great, cool. Glad this is a precedent. Glad. Alrighty then, that's happening.
I'm glad that you were, I mean, I'm not glad that you were weeping, but I'm glad that you felt an emotion beyond, like, abject terror, which was what I felt the whole time.
Even during that moment, it was one of your top 3 moments.
I was like... It was, and I was like, aw. And then immediately, she, like, I was like, oh, look at her. And then she hung it, and I was like, aw, damn.
Okay, but then Bill started growling at the creaking, and it was the best. I'm just like, Bill, you are my favorite.
No.
That was really
She started,
good.
like, growling back
That made me mad at Bill. I was like, what are you doing? You do not, don't poke the bear. Don't tickle a sleeping dragon.
But she didn't know that there was a dragon. She didn't know there was a dragon.
Listen.
So she's just like, oh, you making noise? I can make noise too.
I treat all suspicious activity with reverence and fear, like I'm supposed to. Like a black woman is supposed to. Anything looks sideways, you give it that side eye, you treat it with respect, and you get the hell out.
Fair.
That's it.
I mean... I also liked that this was, like, the first episode that we got where she's really on her own for the majority of the time. Like, yeah, I feel like the other episodes, there are moments where she's like, okay, now I'm going to do this, and, like, the doctor's over here, but they're still kind of in the same vicinity, and it's only for, like, a scene or two. So I think this was, like, the moment where it was like, all right, Bill's really able to hang, because she was like, okay, we can't find the doctor. She's not like, let's go find the doctor. She's just like, let's figure out a way to get out of here.
Yeah, she wasn't dependent on him.
Right. Which I think is, like, that's a step for companions, is, like, they first kind of get acclimated and kind of understand, like, what's going on. And so we got all the, like, intro parts, and now she's like, okay, cool, I got this. I'm scared, but I got this.
Yeah, no, she's gonna figure it out.
I also really like that she was, like, actively separating herself from the doctor and was like, you gotta go home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that's, like, another part that we can talk about in my Bill Phillips about, like, that's my granddad, and also being like, this is my life, this is a part of my world that you're not in, and setting that, like, she's the one that sets that boundary, as opposed to, like, I think with other companions, it's been the opposite, where the doctor has to go and set that boundary.
He has to be like, here, stay home. Like, I'll be back.
Yeah. And also, like, don't forget that you're human, and that, you know what I mean? Because even at one point, the doctor says, like, oh, I forgot about, like, your tiny, like, when Bill's the one that figures out that the landlord's timeline doesn't make sense, right? Like,
right.
How are you the mom, or the father, if you've been doing this since 50 years or whatever? Because the doctor doesn't even think about that. He's like, oh, yeah, y'all don't live that long.
Right.
That don't make no sense. But it has to be pointed out to him, and I think that it's really cool the way that they flipped that script. So.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. And, like, also, yeah, just, like, the quote where she says, this is the bit of my life you're not in. I really liked that, because it was like, dude, like, really, you gotta go. And clearly, like, we know there was some real shit going on, so obviously the doctor's not gonna leave, which I also appreciate him putting his foot down and not leaving, and then everything just happens. So, yeah, I thought that was good. And I still love her questions, and I need the doctor to explain to her fully what regeneration is. You can't just mention those kind of things and then move on.
Right, especially
like she needs
because
to know.
I don't know if she's going to see one.
Right.
I don't know if she's going to get to see one.
I think it's interesting that he kind of, like, said it absent-mindedly, and then when she was like, regeneration, back up, fam, he was like, oh, we'll get there another day. I think that's kind of interesting because the doctor has never really talked about it. Like, even from the New Who 9 and 10, he kind of just left Rose, and Rose was like, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah, it's true.
Who's your, what?
It's true.
That's,
But he explained it to, like, did Martha know? I feel like Martha might have known. And Donna, Amy definitely
those are the
knew.
ones who,
I think
Yeah, they're the ones who didn't really have to experience it, though. Also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, Amy definitely knew. Even Clara knew. She just didn't think that she would ever have to deal with it.
Go through it.
Yeah.
I mean, Amy knew because she was 12 when he regenerated.
Right, and, like, he explained it to her. I think with Rose, part of it was, like, he thought he had more time, and then shit went down, and he was like, well, guess I gotta regenerate. And, like...
Right, because Rose was all bad wolf in it.
Right. And then also, like, because at that point, it's an introduction into it. And so, at that point, Rose is also us. So, it made sense in that, like, situation. But, yeah, I mean, I do think it would be cool if Bill doesn't get that, like, answer until they have to deal with both masters. And the doctor's like, and she's like, who's that? And he's like, that's the master. And who's that? That's also the master. They're the same person.
Same
just
dude.
different time. You know what I mean? Like, explaining it in that way would also be kind of interesting.
True.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really fun. I'm scared to say fun. I haven't really had
It'd be fun.
much.
It would be fun.
I've really enjoyed this season so far, but I don't know if fun...
Fun's the word.
Is what I've been...
That's
the
the
emotions
word.
I've been experiencing.
Yep,
You're right.
fun.
There are no synonyms, no other... Nope. It'll be fun.
I like that Bill gets to have friends. I feel like it's been a
I
long
do too.
time. It's been a really long time since a companion has had friends that haven't been... Wait, I'm trying to think. Has a companion ever had a friend who wasn't... also a time traveler or a significant other? And I think the answer is no. So I hope Bill gets to keep her friends.
Jack is a time traveler.
Yeah.
He doesn't count.
He doesn't
And
count.
like, for a while...
And he shot a shot with everybody.
It's true.
And for a while, I think Mickey and Rory were the answer, but they were, again, a significant other, and then eventually crossed that line. And thus making it harder for the companion to keep a life outside of the doctor. And so...
I mean, I guess I would say Danny Pink, except, like, again, significant other, but he was so trash and wasn't supportive.
But also he, like, goes on... But then he goes in the TARDIS. And he doesn't... I don't know if he...
He does?
Yeah. He didn't travel in time, though. He's been in there a couple times, and then there was one episode
like,
that was like in the present, and he had to he was like a part of it, but he didn't travel.
Yeah, but
Okay.
But again, significant other, in terms of like, hey, just so you know, the doctor is a part of my life, yada yada yada. So like the significant other brings an aspect of it of like the companion has to reckon with those two sides of themselves, and I don't know if Bill will get there, but for now, it's been Amy and Clara, whatever, both struggled with like having a life outside of the doctor because they were both so tied into who he was. Like Amy didn't even have parents. Like she just literally did not have parents. They just were eaten by time or something confusing to that nature. And Bill doesn't really have parents either, but Amy had so little life in the present
outside of
that. I like that Bill has friends and that they're so diverse. Like, look, that's what the world looks like, guys. It's all so diverse.
I know.
Like, there was one white dude, and I was like, that's it. It's one white
I will
dude,
say though that two of those three white boys, the one who wasn't tall, I really was confusing them. I was like, which one is this?
Oh, but didn't one of them get eaten?
They weren't all white. There was only one white boy.
Yeah.
Really?
There were two Asians.
Really? Yeah, I think the first guy who got...
because I was... Yes. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, because I was like, they all look the same to me.
I missed the first dude
it was
who
early.
was eaten. So I don't remember what he was.
Well, Pablo might have been
maybe
white.
It was like their hair or something was really similar, and so I just couldn't, Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that
he was in the wall most of the time.
Exactly.
But,
a cool, diverse team.
And I also...
Harry, that was the other dude.
I like the fact that...
Harry, can we just first of all talk about him getting his leg caught in the stair, like another Harry Harry we know. I was like, and then he got. I was like, I was like, wow, is this a birth? This is like a name thing because, And then I was like, why did you just freak out in that moment and run?
Because they'll end up getting got by a step.
He messed himself up. I was really like, dude, what are you doing? Like, be calm. Like, he would have been fine, but he had to go.
He really started freaking out.
Which was another thing, because he saw Homegirl dive out the window. But then his reaction was, why did you stop me? I was going to be right out after her. You know, like, he was like, let's go. Why are you letting the window shut? But I also like the fact that her friends, if they do get to stick around, which I hope they do, they know the doctor. They know him as the professor and the lecturer.
And his they know him as her granddad.
And
but they know him from campus, too.
Yeah, because when he walked in, they're like, the doctor. Oh, yeah. And then
Legend!
Like, he's the granddad. Yeah. And so I do like that, too, because it's kind of, like, reminds me a little bit of Jackie, where, well, I mean, I guess Jackie knew pretty early on, but that the doctor can come in to her life and not have it be, like, a big explanation-y type of thing. They don't need to know that he's an alien. They don't need to know how, like, all the particulars, but he can, like, stop by for some chips. and right. Like, that will be cool, you know? So she doesn't have to, like, lie the way that Clara felt that she had to lie.
Especially because they've been through this, like, traumatic event together. So, like, they'll know that he can deal with weird stuff. Yeah, they still don't even know that the doctor is an alien. They just think he knows. Right, you don't need to know all of that. Like, it's just, the important part is that, that they know that he deals with weird stuff. And if she goes off and disappears and weird stuff happens, oh, well, that's just because the doctor does that. Like, they don't need to know that he travels in time or that he's an alien, but they know that if weird stuff's going down, the doctor is there. And, oh, wait, where did Bill go off to? She must have gone with her granddad.
Right.
Also, really love the fact that, I mean, obviously, Bill, we don't actually know if she's, like, black on with both of her parents or not, but not a single person was just like, wait, he's your granddad? Why is he white?
I definitely did that.
You can't just ask why someone's white.
Yeah.
You can't just ask why someone's white. But that would have been a good callback to Mean Girls, but they're British, so I don't know if they care about Mean Girls like we do here. But
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Mean Girls has the same reverence in Britain. I do like the fact that they were split, like you had alluded to earlier, Bayana, like they were split up through most of the episode. And so it was like Bill and her friend, and then the doctor was like, well, I'm going to hang out here
and listen to Little Mix.
And play music and listen to Little Mix. But that none of, I mean, Bill felt very self-conscious about it and was a little embarrassed and was like, you gotta go. But none of her friends did. Right. They were just like, oh, that's cool. He came to help.
But also I love how embarrassed she was. It was
that he's
the
sticking
best.
Around. Yeah.
She was just like, oh my gosh, you're so embarrassing. Please leave. And like, I just loved her. Like, Pearl's amazing, guys.
Yeah. I didn't write it down. Oh man, I'm so mad. He was like, we're gonna chill out here. And she was just like, no, you're not gonna chill with my friends.
Let's do quotes from the TARDIS.
All right. You should hire this out, like a removal service.
Okay, so with that scene, I really thought that she was like moving her stuffing, kind of like Donna, where it was like, okay, cool, like this is getting real.
I'm here now.
Yeah, like she's really moving into the TARDIS and like becoming part of the crew. And I am sad that wasn't actually the case, but then I also love that she literally was like, hey, come over so we can move my stuff. And he's like, sure, why not? Because that's true friendship. That is true friendship right there. He's just
and
like,
it was brilliant.
All right, yeah, I'm with you.
She was just like,
I can do that for you.
Right here.
It was so good. I was just like, okay, she's not moving into the TARDIS, but they are really friends now.
Yeah. Do you wear big robes and hats? Big collars, mostly.
Those collars are ridiculous.
Call back to
They are ridiculous.
Those collars are so, like, how do you do anything?
It puts Count Dracula to shame.
Noted it.
It's like a dog cone.
You know what I'm gonna do? Because I really need to get my dog a dog collar right now. She's been sick for a minute, but I'm gonna decorate it like a Gallifreyan collar, and she'll be cool.
Yes.
She'll be a dog lord.
Should definitely a dog lord.
A dog time lord.
I love it.
She'll feel better about herself.
He's just my friend, granddad. Father, at least, please. All right, grandfather. It's like his insistence that he was her father was just like, no,
He's
doctor,
like, I don't look nearly
in a
old
mirror.
enough.
Or that he wasn't that old. When he's like, I don't look that old, I was like, but you 2,000 years old though.
Right, like it
fam.
doesn't even
Like,
matter if you look that old.
She's 24.
It doesn't
She's
even matter if
24,
you look
you're
that
2000.
old. You are 2,000 years old.
Right.
Even if you were Matt
Yeah.
Smith, she would have been like, that's my granddad. Which I would have loved
be
equally.
hilarious.
I would have equally loved
Right.
any of the other doctors that we've had who've been much younger. She would have been like, that's my granddad.
With my granddad.
Like, well.
And I also loved it because his first companion in Classic Who was his granddaughter.
Yeah.
So there was this little, which made me a little bit nervous too, because I was like, I don't like all of these like closing of loops, because it makes
There's
me
a
feel
lot
like
of
it's
loops.
the last season, which I know it's not, but like
There are a lot
I
of
don't.
loops
It makes
closing.
me uncomfortable when I feel like they're like closing circles or like, you know, looping back to something and like tying it up nicely.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do that. I like to leave my stuff open because that means that we get another season or 5 or 10.
Right.
I liked when Bill was like, come on, Indiana Jones. Because when she's like opening the wall with the bookcase, partially because, I mean, I just love any character who references pop culture, aka Abed, aka Kenneth the Page from 30 Rock. Usually my favorite characters in anything are characters who reference pop culture, because that's what I do, and it just further solidifies that Bill and I are TARDIS twins, but also just like how quirky she is, and she's super nerdy and just like, ooh, this is just like this movie I saw. And I'm like, hey, that's me.
Yeah, she relates to the world through pop culture.
Yep.
I think that's something that we all have in common.
It's a nerd thing, for sure.
It's a nerd thing.
For
Everyone
sure.
loves insects. I don't. They're fascinating. I love that. I loved the like, wait a second, why is her father bringing her insects?
Yeah. Like, she's like, that's
Only-
weird. He's like,
only
but
a
everyone
girl-
loves them. No.
Right.
It's actually false.
Right. Only Bill could have figured out like that wasn't right. Like the doctor was like, you're close, but you're not quite there. Because and that's the other reason why the doctor can't regenerate into a girl. Because as a dude, like, boys love bugs and girls are just like,
Well,
most girls.
that's not necessarily
this
true.
is big sweeping
Definitely-
generalizations here.
Yeah, because I
But, like-
definitely know some girls who like bugs.
Right, I'm just saying,
not-
like, in the world of pop culture and stereotypes and stuff, boys like bugs, and girls are like, no, thank you.
And they would just be circumventing stereotypes. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Right,
when
and
I'm
I don't think
seeing
about Bill
This
as being
argument is
particularly-
not-
I don't think of... No, I'm saying, I don't think of Bill as being particularly girly either, but just, like, having that sense of, like, no, that's not right. Like, a grown man isn't gonna bring his sick daughter bugs. Like, that's just not...
I think that's just her being human,
That's
too,
not-
though. Which is a cool
Yeah,
thought. Because
we
it's
hate
like the
bugs.
doctor is just so alien that he's just like, wait, that's totally normal, right? No, you don't know everything about us, however long you've been here.
Right. Like, he saw that bug and was like, lit, it's an alien. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's only some shit a Time Lord, or maybe even
And it's not
him
on our
just-
list, and it's not on our list of quotes, but he's just like, oh, what was he calling them, dryads or something? And
Yeah.
the guy was like, is
Yeah.
that what they're called? He's like, well, I can't just call them lice.
That's it.
It's just like, that's what I'm calling them right now. I've decided that that's what they are.
Space life.
Like, whatever. It's like, okay.
Right.
And I'm like, they're kind of like space termites? But I guess they're not really eating the wood. They just are the wood.
They are the wood.
I don't know.
I wonder if he
was
brought
calling
in some
them
termites
space
if they could kill him.
Ooh.
That's
If the
really what
bugs
you
would
gotta
kill
do.
the wood.
If they brought in some termites, I think they'd be fine. Everybody lives. I mean, everybody lived anyway, but still.
I also, just to get out of the quotes from the TARDIS real quick, but like, so everybody lives and then the house disappears. Do they eat themselves? Where do they go? Do they go into the ground? Where do the bugs go?
That's a good question, because like
There's all these
they eat
questions.
they eat the mom and the daughter. I mean, the son. But then, why does the house
the whole
collapse?
house went.
Did the doctor do something?
I think Homegirl did something. I don't know what she did.
Homegirl did something.
Oh, well, I guess partially they were hungry, and then she released
and
their
were
food.
full after they ate.
No, but then she released their food, and so then they had no food at all. Maybe? And also now I'm thinking about, like, the ramifications of, like, post being eaten by house PTSD because they survived, but, like, what was that experience like being in a wall? Like, are you going to have nightmares about that? I have a lot of questions about their emotional well-being, and I'm glad that they're all together so that they can support each other during this very difficult and emotional time.
I bet you Pablo's like, well, you know what I'm not going to do is go into these hermit modes anymore.
Right.
Where people are not a little bit curious when I don't show up for a day.
Yeah.
They're just not going to check on me?
I think
you
Pavel
see me in over 24 hours?
Pavel's never listening to music again.
He's done with that.
He's never buying a record player ever.
He's like, I gotta change my major. I gotta find a whole new reason for being. I hope I have enough time and enough credits to.
Also,
I mean, none of them may ever live in a house again either. Like,
who knows where they're gonna live? But I also like that
they're just like tents.
They are all students, but she's like Bill's not, and they were just like, "Hey, you're cool. Hang out with us." They weren't exclusionary.
I think she is now though, because that was.
No,
wasn't that part of like him tutoring her?
He was her like special tutor. Like, but I don't think she.
Yeah, but
like,
he said that he was going to get
now.
her enrolled because she was like, "I'm not a student." He was like, "Leave that to me." I think she's a student now.
Oh.
Oh, I thought he was just doing whatever the fuck he wanted. I didn't realize he enrolled her. I thought he was just like, so who cares?
Right, like show up to my class and I'll teach you on the
he
side.
Said,
like
leave
whatever.
that to me, but you can't. Yeah, like I think she's a student. He enrolled her. He did whatever he wanted. Like that's not untrue, but like he enrolled her in classes, and she's a legit student. Maybe. She probably don't know how to pay. Like she ain't paying no tuition. She's not doing. Because
it got sonic screwdrivered in. Like her name got sonic screwdrivered in, and so like she's just doesn't have to worry about anything except living in a house with some people. But also back to Bill Fields. Is that she seemed so lonely before, and now she has friends, and I'm just so happy for her. She was like just serving chips. No reference of, like, whether she had friends or not. She was living with her, like, foster mom, and it didn't seem really happy at all. And now she's, like, out living in the world, being a grown-up, making new friends. And I'm just so happy for her.
It didn't seem unhappy to me. Like, they had, like, a little banter. I mean, I do see the, like...
But she seemed lonely.
Kind of lonely.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it didn't seem like...
I think they didn't really get along,
But I think that's also just a matter of, like, not having friends your age.
Yeah.
But I don't think that her, like, home life was, like... It wasn't unhappy. It was just not... It was just singular and lonely. Which I think is different.
Sure.
But maybe that's just me and the way I work.
So we should continue with the quotes because...
Yeah, let's get back to the quotes.
15 minutes have passed. So what's the plan? That was the plan. Info dump, then busk. So he was just
start busking.
Yeah,
and then she's like, okay, so get to it then.
And start busking. I loved it. What's the point of surviving if you never see anyone, if you hide yourself away from the world? New friends, fireworks, that's what life should be. That's one quote.
And I included a Nardole quote because I don't like him, but sometimes he says reasonable things, and I'm not gonna act like he didn't say a thing that wasn't reasonable or true. So he said, "You don't have to go to outer space to find monsters. There's plenty of things that want to kill you right here on Earth."
Which, if that ain't the truth,
actual factual.
Yeah, and also still a little bit of foreshadowing for the thing that's in the vault.
In the vault, that's
but also just like true in general.
Right, like whoever's in the vault probably also wants to kill him as well as eat tacos with him.
Right.
Yes, I'd like to think of the master as Dobby. Like the master does not set out to kill, only to maim and seriously injure the doctor.
But that's so false. What are you talking about? Didn't she literally kill Osgood? Like, what are you talking? Like, literally, no. Hey, look,
master,
here's a gun. I'm gonna dematerialize you. Like, I'm so confused.
No.
About this perception.
Not people. the doctor. She doesn't want to kill the doctor. Human,
Okay.
she don't care
Got
about.
you. Okay.
They can die.
I'm really like, what?
That's just a Tuesday afternoon for her or him, for the master. That's just like, that's good quality, appetizer food.
Yeah, I mean, they're best friends.
And friend
But
of
yeah,
nemesis.
I don't think
They're
she
like
wants to kill the
Naruto
doctor.
and Sasuke, for those of you who also are into Naruto. That's who they are.
Jesus Christ.
If you
So many fandoms.
read the manga or watched the anime, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, and it would make absolute sense.
Speaking of anime or manga, I gotta go to the library and pick up my manga. Anyway, what do you guys think about the episode as a whole? Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just thinking about where it could be going, that being the master in the vault, in terms of... Because we haven't really... I've kind of skipped around in terms of watching 8 and 9, but we haven't really gotten the master and the doctor interacting since they've, found Gallifrey. So I just want to know how that interaction will be different now that they're not technically the last Time Lords anymore. And I wonder if that has anything to do with, the imprisonment and their sort of sense of, friendship that is less volatile than it's been in the past.
I mean, the other thing about them having found Gallifrey is maybe the Master doesn't care so much to keep the Doctor alive because they aren't the last. There are others. Or vice versa.
Right.
Right? They were very hesitant to, kill because it was just them. Once they found each other, the Doctor, Tin, did not want to kill him because, then he really would be alone, and he didn't want to be alone anymore.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So thank you all for listening. You can check out our work and other podcasts and blogs and writing and whatever at blackgirlscreate.org, and you can read Connie's writing at the New York Daily News. And follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. I'm at Yana_Hollows. Robin is at Robin with a Y _Ravenclaw. And Connie is Constar24. And if you want to tweet your reactions and thoughts about this episode and previous Doctor Who episodes, you can use the hashtag TARBIS with a B, not a D, time and relative blackness in space. And join our Slack, where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. And so you can just give us all your thoughts, your live thoughts, the ones that you have, you're awake at night in the middle of the night and you're just like, the TARDIS. Some, all the things that you ponder about
when you scream
time
out
and
loud,
space.
you can then go to the Slack and be like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why did we like this
You
shit?
can come join the Slack and calm Robin down every time she watches a new episode and is freaking
That
out.
too.
And be like, it's fine,
The next
Robin.
episode
it's
has
cool.
zombies.
It's fine.
I'm not going to be here, guys. I'm skipping. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Zombies in space.
Post-zombies? Nah, man. When there were dinosaurs in space, I was all about it. But zombies, I don't do zombies. If you go on my Netflix right now and you go to The Walking Dead, it starts at 2 seconds because I started it and I stopped it because I didn't do that stuff. I'm
That's
scared
true.
of the comic book. Why am I going to watch that on
The Walking
live
Dead
on TV?
either. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't do
I
no
actually
zombies,
don't really
nothing.
fuck with zombies.
No zombie never.
But I can watch them in
Don't.
space. I think I'm cool if they're in space.
No.
They will
If
be
they get
defeated at
kicked
the
out
end
and
in
left
space.
in space,
It'll be
That's
fine.
what I'm saying. Like,
If we're
Fine.
in a spaceship and then they're out floating in space out there, then maybe.
So thanks for listening. You can join us next week as Bayana and I, and maybe Robin if we can convince her, as we discuss episode
Not
5
doing
of
zombies,
season 10
man.
of Doctor Who, Oxygen, aka Zombies in Space.
Nah, man.
yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you guys next week, maybe.
Ciao.
All right.
The black girls have the box.